what's up, Springfield? We are excited to share with you season 2 of Springfield Stories. Season 1 was amazing, and we were able to hear and share the stories and the journey of our neighbors right here in our community. Season 2, we have more great stories for you to hear, because we all have a story. We all have an authentic story and a journey, and when we share those stories, it increases our capacity to show compassion, bring unity, and even encourage one another here in our community. So check out this story from one of your neighbors. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Springfield Stories. I'm Aaron Clark, and we have another great guest. And we just really hope that you are enjoying the stories of our lovely neighbors here in the city of Springfield. And as always, this is a great opportunity just to learn more about the people we see every day. You know, everyone has a story, good, bad, ugly. And this is just an opportunity just to share, get to know our neighbors and share their stories. So we have a wonderful guest today. Share us your name.
I'm Beth Donahue.
Beth Donahue. So, Beth, tell us about this life journey. So let's start from the beginning. Where are you born? Where were you born and then raised? And just give us your beginning life.
Okay. Well, I was born here in Springfield at Old Community Hospital. And I was an only child. But my dad's side, the Donahue side, actually my dad was the oldest of 6 boys. So I was the first girl, period, for years on that side. And ended up being the first grandchild of my grandparents and the only one for 10 years. Kind of spoiled with the attention.
So real fast. Let's just, you already said something that I'm like, you know, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're good.
you know, we're just conversing. So you're the only child
Yes.
and the only grandchild for 10 years.
Yes.
So and you said that you had got a lot of attention.
I did.
So how did that mentally, affect you growing up? Because, I'm not the only child. I have siblings. So what being the only child, what does that put your headspace?
Oh, I'm 52 years old and I'm still spoiled.
Wow.
Okay. Now, not in a bad way. But there are times I have to check myself and say, okay, Beth, this is not your family.
Right.
You're out here with other people. But nobody has ever accused me of being shy.
Okay.
I've told people that all the time. And people know it. People that know me know. I'll get out there. I'll talk to people. I'll say, hi, how you doing?
Right.
I don't know a stranger.
Yeah.
And I think being the center of attention like that helped me to be that extrovert also.
Also, you think being the only child helped you in being an extrovert?
I do, honestly.
Because sometimes I hear that being the only child, the person feels sheltered and they kind of stay to themselves. But you said that helped you.
Oh, yeah, no, I was a very active child. I mean, my parents sheltered me in some things, but not like the social part of it and that kind of thing. I've always pretty much been an extrovert and just gotten out there.
Yeah. So being the only child, were you closest to your mom, dad, or was it balance or?
Actually, it depends upon the time in my life. It was at one point in time, it was dad. I was a daddy's girl.
Growing up. Let's
Yes.
start there.
Okay.
Growing up, okay.
I was a daddy's girl. Yes. So and I mean I was close with actually it was more kind of balanced being a child.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, it was because like I said, my age, I was born in the 70s. Mom used to sew us matching Christmas outfits, Easter outfits,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, and then on the flip side of that, my dad would sit down on the ground with me and play with me with my Barbies and my Barbie pool. So I got it from both sides where, yeah, it's.
How was like, being on child in school? Like, or let me ask this question first. Did you want brothers and sisters? Did you want siblings?
Yes, I did. When I was little, I did.
Yeah, but now that you're a girl, you're like, you don't really.
Yeah, no. I mean, even up until I got into actually probably late elementary school was when I stopped wanting siblings.
Okay. So what was that like? Let's go back to your grade school and being the only child. Was your parents big on education, or what were you like in school?
Yeah, I was. Yes, they were. They were big on education. I did pretty well in school.
Okay.
So yeah,
What was your favorite subject?
social studies and history.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that just you just love that, or was there
Yeah.
a particular teacher? Sometimes teachers, depending on who your teacher is, can get you interested into a subject or something. Or
No, I think it almost came naturally. Probably more from my dad.
oh,
My dad likes the history stuff and everything like that. So my mom was the accountant and all that, and I was not good at math.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm still not.
Yeah, that's not mine. I say my favorite subject in school was lunch.
Now that sounds like my son.
Lunch and gym. I was not a. I mean, I did well in school. I mean, I wasn't a bad student. I didn't flunk or anything. But it
But
just
see,
wasn't-
gym was not education.
it is.
No,
Gym
that's
is like. Yes, work out, it's exercise, it's a good health, like.
well now, yes. Back when I was doing it, no.
Gym
was gym. It was you went in and played.
I
It was like an over, an extension of recess. Is what gym was.
Hey, one thing I've never been able to accomplish though. Maybe this is on my bucket list. I don't know if you could do it. I've never been able to climb rope. In gym class, I don't know if you had it, but they have the rope hanging in gym, and you have to climb the rope. I never got that part together. Can you climb rope?
I had the class record.
Really?
Yes.
Jeez. Got a professional rope climber here. Wow, that's amazing. So there was really big on education. You're a great student. Being the only child, how did that affect you going to school and like you have friends and they have siblings and talk about their family life and you saying I don't have that? Did that affect you in any type of way?
Not really, because like I said, my dad was the oldest of 6 boys. So and the youngest one was 15 when I was born.
Okay.
So I kind of had them, and and they kind of stuck around at my grandparents' house, going to school and just doing what they were doing. Everybody was in and out. So I had them, where, especially the youngest one, it was almost more like a big brother type thing versus an uncle.
Oh, okay.
Up until a certain age. At least that's the way I felt. I don't know how he felt.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I felt.
Gotcha.
I had that, but it just wasn't an actual brother.
Right. So, let's move on to, you are growing up, you're the only sibling, and when did things start to, if anything, start to change for you just with your family dynamic?
When I was 7, we moved to Alabama, northern Alabama. My dad got transferred.
Okay.
And that was a big deal for me. I had a rough time with that. I made friends, and we came back quite often. I would then spend the summers up here every summer, and back then, summers were actually the full 3 months long. June, July, and
Not
August.
like this 4 week thing that
I
we
know
have
that's
now.
what it seems like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I would come up here and I'd live with my grandparents for 3 months out of the year every year, which then also changed the dynamic in our relationship because they also became not just grandparents, but almost like second parents. So which then ended up in turn giving me a very special relationship with my grandparents.
Okay. Do did you look for well in Alabama? Like, did you make friends? What was it like living there? Because 7, you said it hurt you or it affected you in a different way.
Right.
How so? Did you make friends? Did you feel all alone because you're in a new place, or what was that?
Now, I did make friends pretty quickly. Like I'm still that extrovert. I had friends. There's actually a few of them I still talk to today. So I did make the friends pretty easily. I was active in sports, actually more than just sports. But I did all kinds of extracurricular activities, and now that I've never really thought about it before, but now that I say it out loud, I'm wondering if my parents did that because of moving away from the family and put me in all this other stuff to help me not only be busy but get that extra social that I wasn't getting from being around the family all the time.
So moving to Alabama, what was it like at home? Like who did you play with? Like what is your did your mom and dad work?
They
Were you
did.
by yourself?
They
What was
well, to a certain extent, I was a latchkey kid.
okay.
At 7, 8 years old, but it wasn't for long. I'd get off the bus, go home, go in the back door. This was what, third, fourth, fifth grade, and 8, 9, 10 years old, and do that, and my mom would pretty much be right behind. Where she worked was a family-owned business, and we were really good friends and with the family that owned it. So they were very hyper aware that mom needed to get home pretty quickly. So it was usually only about an hour at the most that I was home by myself. And I just, believe it or not, at that point in time, I was also a pretty good kid. And I usually have my homework done by the time mom got home.
Yeah. So you were good. You came home, got your homework done, and were
Yes. Yeah.
I've heard stories of some kids who are home by themselves for hours, and they just get into all type of stuff. But it's a balance.
Yeah.
If you were one, you get your homework done, you were straight up.
Yeah. And then usually, because they usually let me get a snack. They're like, go ahead, get a snack.
Right.
Whatever you want. Because I was there by myself for an hour.
Yeah.
So they were like, yeah, get whatever you want.
Yep. So let's move on up to, you're in Alabama. How long were y'all in Alabama?
Until I was 12.
Okay, so tell us about the transition at 12.
Then we moved to Florida.
Wow.
I was,
Completely different.
yes. And I was angry that time. I mean, I was downright angry. I did not want to leave Alabama. Or if we did, I wanted to come back here. I mean, that was it. It was either not leave or come back to Springfield. I was mad. I mean,
So how did you channel your anger when you got to Florida? Did you become defiant, disobedient? Like, how
Yeah,
did you channel that?
actually, I did.
Yeah.
I did. My grades started slipping. I started acting out, and I actually did that all through high school.
Really?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, and I mean during that time, I had some personal issues that something happened, and never, I never told anybody about till years later, and so that added to it.
Right.
But I was already doing it to start with, also.
Because of that move to
Yes.
Florida, did you just not? Is because you just became comfortable in Alabama, or
Yeah, that and my family up here would come and visit in Alabama quite often, and we'd come up here quite often. And I already knew, even at 12 years old, being in Florida, that wasn't going to happen as often.
so you feel like part of your family was
Yeah,
taken away?
Yeah.
So you just became angry.
yes,
So
I did.
all through high school, you said you were angry and just. So what did you do? What was acting out? Some people just become quiet. Some people just, what was your way of acting out?
Now I still did good in school, okay, because that was just something inside of me. That was me. I wanted to. So it wasn't really school until my senior year. But that's a whole other story. But it was more being defiant and just being more of a back talker. I mean, a lot of people nowadays would say, really, that's it? But at that point in time, that was a big deal. And that was a big deal in me and my parents' dynamic. So it was hard. It was hard. And I wanted to leave, and even tried getting my parents to let me come move up here with my grandparents.
Wow.
Yeah.
That bad? You just
Yes.
wanted.
Yeah.
So the whole time you were in Florida, you did not like Florida at all. You didn't.
No. I did not.
So what was your? I mean, that's a long time for 12. I don't know, when did y'all leave Florida?
6 years ago.
Wow.
6 years ago this month.
So from age 12 to whatever 6 years ago, you've been in Florida and miserable
stand it.
the whole time?
Couldn't stand it. Yep.
Well, let's jump ahead here. Hey, I won't come back. We're going to kind of jump back and forth here because
I told you this would be interesting.
So what kept you there? I mean, because once you became an adult, you will have I believe you will have the opportunity or the freedom to leave. So what kept you there that long?
Kids and ex-husbands.
Oh, so now we go to a journey. Okay, so now we're getting to. So let's walk us to after high school. Then how did you have your kids while you were in high school?
No, I did not. I had my son when I was 21.
Okay, were you married? So walk us through that journey, because I'm interested in what kept you in Florida that long. So walk us through that journey of kids and ex-husbands, and that adult life with Beth. Walk us through that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you blew. I'm like, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we left after I graduated, then moved back. She's like 6 years ago. I'm like, that's recent. Like, wow. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
Told
ahead.
you. Okay, when I was 19-ish, 20-ish, met my first ex-husband, and ended up getting pregnant. Got married when I was 6 months pregnant, and had him. We stayed together for about 5 years. Got divorced for. That's a whole different story, but got divorced. I got full custody. but he would, and I was going to try to move back. He would not sign off on it. Okay. Second husband got married when my son was 6 or 7. 6, I think. Anyway, about a year later, got pregnant with my daughter, had her. About 6 years later, got divorced. Another bad situation. And so then neither one of them would sign off. So then, by the time because my kids are 7 years apart. So by the time my son graduated, my son graduated, my daughter was going from 5th to 6th grade. And still he would not sign off, even though he was not allowed to see her. He was no contact with her. But I still had to get approval for him to sign off for that. Parental rights and all, I guess it's just the way Florida works. Still couldn't do it. Then he passed away a couple years later, and she was so involved in her school and getting ready to go and getting into high school and stuff that I honestly did not want to disrupt her in that. Was why. Believe it or not, her and I are the ones that moved up here 6 years ago. She was a senior in high school, and it was her idea. I wasn't going to do it for another year or so. Because we were up here the summer of 2017 and noticed that my grandmother needed a little more help than what she was leading other people to believe. So my daughter looked at me and she goes, "We have to move up here." Wait a minute, what? What? You're in your senior year of high school. You'd have to change everything because she had set it up where she was only taking 3 or 4 classes her senior year down there. Because she had set it up where, and 3 of them were the ROTC program.
Wow.
Out of that 4. That's what it was. It was 4. And she's like, "Yeah, we got to. Family's more important." Her words.
So I do have, how did your divorce with the first husband affect your son?
It's okay. Still to this day, he's 31, and he has some anger issues. He suffers from depression, anxiety, and I don't know if that's like from the hereditary part of it, because I suffer from it. Not the anger issues, but depression and anxiety. Or if it's from everything that happened between his dad and my daughter's dad, or a combination.
Do y'all talk about it? Have you had conversations about it, or is that just something that you...
No, we do. Yeah. We do. Yeah, he'll call me. He's in the therapy and everything, so that he's in therapy and stuff. So, and he's getting there. But I'm not sure if it was a combination of like hereditary type stuff, or if it's from that, or like I said, both. My thought is both.
How did the divorce with your affect your daughter?
Um, it really didn't. She does not have. She doesn't remember her childhood up until about 4 years old. Which is when we got divorced when she was, well, I separated from him when she was 3, and our divorce was final when she was 4. But she doesn't really remember up until that time.
Yeah. Where did, mentally, because you also said you suffer from depression, anxiety, did that trigger during that time of divorce? Because that has to be hard to be a mother and going through a divorce and,
It's actually because of the marriages
wow.
that I have that and PTSD and that kind of stuff. It's because of the marriages. Both of them were, I was a victim of domestic violence in both of them.
Wow. So, wow. How does that mentally affect you knowing that you cannot move somewhere because someone doesn't sign off?
That's hard. That is hard, and it at both times and all the times I was trying to do it. It actually gave me a feeling of still they were controlling me. It gave me a feeling of defeat that I almost even as a failure as a mom even because I knew it would be better for me up here, which would then in turn make me a better mom to them. I, and now now I know I know I did pretty good with my kids. I know that. And we'll never know if that actually would have been the case where I would have been better off being up here.
Right. But, you said your first husband passed away.
When my daughter was just turning, she had just turned 13, and I don't know, 20 days later he passed away.
Wow. So now death, how did that affect you and the son and even the daughter, but maybe the son, because now, you go through divorce, you already dealing with anger and depression, and now death, happens. So what was it navigating through that process?
Honestly, this is gonna sound horrible. My son was glad. He abused my son. When I cried, it was a cry of relief. Because now the stalking was going to end up stopping. My daughter didn't cry. And has yet to this day cry about it. She did not have a relationship with him, which is extremely sad. I'm like, and still to this day, I'll tell my daughter, he loved you in his way. I don't doubt that for a second. Now, whether it just wasn't the way you needed it.
Right. Right. So now your second ex-husband is still alive?
No, he was the one that died.
Oh, he was the one that died.
That's my daughter's dad.
Oh, I thought that was the first ex-husband.
No, the first one is still in West Virginia.
Oh, the first one. So my bad. Okay, I'm with it now. So,
I know, it can get confusing.
so the first one is still in West Virginia.
Yep.
That's your son's father.
Right.
He's still alive.
Yes.
The second ex-husband, your daughter's father, he's the one that passed away. Got you.
Correct. And my son does not have a relationship with his dad either.
Right. Yeah, it's
Or a good one, I should say.
it's tough. Mm-hmm. That's tough, and The sad truth is not uncommon. Like, it's common. You know,
It is. It's very sad.
that's the
It
sad thing.
is.
It's like
It's very sad.
it's common. It's not like a
Yes.
surprise. And I'm sure there's many people who will be watching this. It was like, well, I can identify with, and
Yeah.
it's just it's life. That's life. We all have a journey in life.
You
But
know, and I do, and I look at okay, with my immediate family up here. I've got two male cousins that are first cousins. They are both amazing fathers. One lives in Xenia and one lives here in Springfield. Both amazing fathers. And I'm like, I'm just so proud of them. And it's like, what? I actually get jealous sometimes. I'm like, why couldn't I have something like that for my kids? And right or wrong, it's not there all the time. It comes and goes in just little bits, and it doesn't last long. But they're just so good, and I wish my kids had had that.
yeah, yeah. How do you? Okay, so y'all leave Florida. You finally able to leave Florida,
Yes.
and you get back here to Springfield, which is you, your son, and your daughter.
No, just me and my daughter.
Just you and your daughter. So your son stayed in Florida.
Right. He was married.
Okay, so he was married, and after now, man, maybe we should bring you bring your son, because now I got questions, for like how, because sometimes, Well, let me ask you this, because this is your story. Did you find that your style of parenting was similar to how your mother or your father parented you?
Yes and no. Me and my parents always had they made it known I could be extremely open with them with no repercussions. Unless it was something super, super bad, okay? But we had that trust. And still to this day, even though I say I did all that stuff in high school, I didn't have a curfew. I could go out with friends, but I would still, out of respect, if I was going to be late, pull over, go to the payphone. Payphone guys. Remember those? But, and call them and say, look, I'm on my way. I'm going to be a few minutes late. Because I had said I was going to be home at this time type thing.
Right.
And I would still do that, even though I was a pain in the butt otherwise.
Yeah. So so your son was married, has kids, so he stayed in Florida. Still live in Florida to this day?
He's back there, yes.
Okay. So you and your daughter pack up here, move to Springfield.
Correct.
So bring us through that transition, because now you, one ex-husband is deceased, and your daughter's a senior in high school.
Yes.
You pack up. Now you have to move back. So walk us through that transition and life for you at that point.
Well, we moved back, get her settled in school. I end up staying with one of my other cousins up here and, trying to help her out financially, and just because it's my cousin. And, so, and I get really involved in helping out my grandmother. Because I'm actually on disability due to the PTSD
And the pressure catcher.
all that. So I had the ability to go and do stuff more so and help her. And it went great through, my daughter's senior year and everything. She moves back to Florida after her senior year for college, because but financially, it was the best decision for her to actually go back. She had college covered for her, totally down in Florida. So, versus paying for it up here. But I'm still doing stuff and helping out my grandmother and everything, and I'm getting involved in the community up here more so than I did it a little more so after she left back for Florida, getting involved and with a few organizations around town here. I don't know if you want me to say who or not.
Sure. I mean,
I can. All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's
Yes.
nothing off
Okay.
limits.
Good. Because I get so excited over this stuff.
Yeah, this is
okay?
your shares. Who you working with?
I started out at doing, getting to know City Lookout.
Okay.
And Melissa and Stephen there. And I am now on their speakers bureau there for them. I get involved with Think Tank here in town.
Two great ones.
I'm on the CLA there with them. I've been a Vista. Sorry, you might want to cut that part out.
No.
I've been a Vista at Salvation Army, and I am back during COVID. Smack dab in the middle. I started the Vista December 2019 at Salvation Army.
Wow.
So it pretty much, we had to totally adapt and just redo.
Yeah.
And I just kind of filled in there where I could, instead of a specific, agenda to do something. After that one, I just started doing more with the CLA and getting more involved with that. Then, just in August of this year, I started another Vista position at Safe Harbor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and during that whole time, it was rough. During my Vista at Salvation Army, my grandmother passed away.
Oh.
And it wasn't due to COVID. It was just, she was 96 years old.
That's a wonderful life.
Yes,
96.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, that was rough for me. So I had lost both my moms, because I lost my mom in 2006. And my, grandmother's second mom here. That was rough.
Yeah. How did you, well, back up, and then I'm going to come back to what the organizations that you're helping with now.
Okay.
Because you said you lost your mom in 2006.
Yes.
So is your dad still?
My dad is still alive,
Your
and I
dad's
have a
still
stepmom.
You have a stepmom.
Yes.
So losing your mother in 2006, walk us just briefly through that journey. What was your...
That was really bad for me. I hit a major depressed state that lasted quite a few years. Major depression. And it was rough. I came, because it was 3 years after I left my second abusive marriage. She was my rock. She was my best friend. She's the one, because even still back then, there wasn't a lot of information out about domestic violence. She called the local shelter, asking questions and getting information. So when I came to her in 2003 and said, look, I'm done, I'm ready, this is what's happening. And I didn't think she knew. She goes, oh, I know. And she showed me her notebook of questions from where she called them. She was my rock. I lost it. when she passed away, when she died. It was unexpected. It yeah, it took me a long time, and I don't think I totally dealt with it until I actually got up here and started utilizing, because I mean, I've been in therapy for years on and off, and I found somebody up here in 2018, and that's when it fully came around to me that it was that I'd never dealt with the grief.
Yeah. Yeah. Grief is, it's a process, and I think sometimes people just, I'll say we just as
In general.
in general, I'm not gonna say people like that, just we in general kind of just skip over that grief part,
Yeah.
and we just
Yeah. Okay,
don't fully embrace it, Yeah, go ahead.
and I had 2 little kids. So I think if I'm remembering correctly, because I lost quite a bit of time there, just kind of blocked it out. If I'm remembering correctly, my thought was, I can't deal with this right now. I have to deal with my kids. I have to be a mom and raise my kids. Deal may have not been the right word, but not realizing at the time that if I had focused on myself, I wouldn't be ignoring them, but it would have been helping them more. Now, like I said, I still don't think I did a bad job. My daughter doesn't really remember it too much, but I have apologized to my son if I didn't do things right at that point in time, because he remembers when my mom passed away. And I guess because he doesn't know any different, or just honestly, he's like, Mom, you were fine.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I was.
Yeah, I understand. I can I can see that. I can understand that. So now then your grandmother passed.
In 2020.
So that brings another blow.
Yes. But I could deal with it better because of the stuff I learned in therapy
Right.
up here. But honestly, I'm gonna call it out. I went to City Lookout for therapy there, and they're amazing. They do amazing work, and because of what I learned in 2018 from my counselor there, my therapist there, I was able to deal with my grandmother better.
Yeah.
It was hard,
Right.
but I could handle it better.
Right.
And I also think I had, and at that point in time, my husband and I had gotten married. So, and I think having the right, healthy relationship, spouse, helped me do that. I mean, it just, between the two,
You were in a better position.
yeah, I was in a better position. Yes,
Yep.
thank you. That's the words I was looking for.
Yeah.
Better position to deal with it properly.
Yep. I get it. So we have to, and you can put a plug in for City Lookout. There may be some people out there that's looking for good therapists or counselors to help. I'm all for it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yes.
If that's what you feel you need to keep your mental health together,
Oh, absolutely.
then I'm like, go right ahead and
Yes.
and do it. That's why people go into that field so they can help people, with that.
Absolutely.
So you're doing a lot of work here in Springfield. You're City Lookout, Salvation Army, Think Tank, Safe Harbor. I mean, you're about ready to join all the nonprofits. You be
I would if I could. Honestly, I would if I could.
Yeah.
But my heart is with domestic violence awareness. Hence, all of purple.
Yep.
It's October.
Yep.
So, and that's where my heart is. And honestly, because of personal experiences, and if I can, and I have before, I've shared my story before. I've done my testimony on domestic violence and what I went through. And if I can make other people aware, either whether it be somebody in domestic violence or somebody outside of it, either one or both, if I can make it, if I can just get to one person, that would be all worth it.
So I don't know how many people will watch this, but I'm sure it'll be more than one person. If you had to, let's say someone is watching this and they are in a domestic violence relationship, nobody knows about it, but they're in it. What would you speak to that person right now?
You are not alone. You are not alone. There are others out there that can, whether they've been through it or not, it doesn't matter. There are people out there that can support you safely. That's the main issue, is getting the support safely.
If you had to, because you said someone who was on the outside of it as well. So what do you mean by that? It's a person who's on the outside of.
Okay, for example, like take my mom. My mom knew, and I had no idea she knew.
Got you.
I
get
didn't
what
tell
you're saying.
anybody.
Yeah.
But my mom knew. People outside the family, even if you're not telling anybody, there are people that know. If your sister, if your brother, if your best friend know you, they know.
Got it. Because, that I just wanted for clarity to speak to that. So people watching understand what you mean by outside of that domestic violence. So what is your heart as we wrap up? Where does your heart now? What do you do now? I heard you have a husband.
Yes, I found him up here.
All right. Oh, Springfield.
Although he's not from here either.
Oh, please don't tell me he's from Florida.
No, he's not, actually.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe
actually not, kind of, but not. He's hybrid. He's from all over.
You know what? I don't know if we're going to cut that part out or not. Please forgive me. Maybe that was a bad joke. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I think it's funny. So.
Okay, as long as you think it's funny, because,
yeah.
maybe that's what I love about this being real and off the cuff. You say some stuff and the thought came up and it came out of my mouth before I could wheel that back. So my apologies to your husband and not comparing him to the. Okay, I'm just gonna shut up. Keep going.
I was gonna say, keep going, Aaron.
No,
keep digging.
Yeah,
keep digging.
Just going. Shut up and move on. So you found your husband.
Yep, found him up here.
Oh Jesus.
We knew actually right away.
Oh wow.
We knew right away. We met in, believe it or not, October of 2019.
Wow.
And got married in July of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, we knew. I mean, we're both older. He's, like I said, I'm 52. He's 59. We both knew. I had been single. I dated here and there, but I had been, I was, I had I had partners throughout the years, but I remained technically single from 2003 to 2020 when I married Jimmy. Yeah.
That's a long time, and then so you did even through your divorces, did you still desire marriage, or it wasn't until you met?
No, I had always said I was not going to get married again. You should have heard my daughter when I had said, called her on the phone because 2020, she was pregnant. She couldn't get up here, plus COVID. I mean, between being pregnant and COVID, they couldn't get up here for the marriage. So we just did a quick, and, but she goes, what? She's on the phone with me and she's going, what? She goes, you always said you were never going to get married again.
Well, you found love.
I said, sorry, not sorry.
Hey, as long as you're happy and you're in a healthy
Yes.
space, you're in a healthy
Yes.
position in life.
Yes.
Sometimes I find it funny when we say we're not going to do something, then you look up and you did the very thing
Yeah,
you
I
said
know.
you were not going to do.
know.
That's life has a way of just making you
But
laugh.
for what? But look for how long I didn't.
Yeah, that's a long time. Yeah, yeah, that's
And I was fine with that.
yeah.
Raising my kids, being there for my kids. My son didn't really need it so much after he graduated high school and moved out. But when he graduated, like I said, my daughter was in middle school.
Right.
So, and me and my daughter had a and still do, we either talk or text every single day.
Nice.
But when we were together, when she was in school and stuff, we were inseparable. We moved, okay. Can I do a quick example? here?
Sure.
Okay. We had just moved up here, got the bank, we're going to get bank accounts and stuff. So we go in, get the bank accounts, do all this. About 3 months later, I'm walking into the bank, and the bank manager looks at me and she goes, "Where's your daughter?" Why? What? I'm like, it's the middle of the school day. She goes, "But you guys are never apart." So
Yeah, they just so used to seeing you two together.
Yes.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that's a great relationship.
it is,
Nothing
and
wrong.
we still have a great relationship.
That's
So,
good. That's
yeah.
good. So as we close,
Okay.
how do you feel being back in Springfield? Just what are your final thoughts? You're living here and you're involved in so much. And I'm sure all of these organizations are grateful to have you work and be a part of them. So what is your final thoughts to anyone that's watching just about Springfield and life and just being here?
I love Springfield. I do. I love it. I get angry when I hear people bad mouthing Springfield.
Yeah.
The city's working on it. It takes time.
We didn't get here overnight.
Right, exactly. We didn't get where we are overnight, so we're not going to flip it overnight. And the city's working on it. The community organizations are working on it. If you don't like what you see, find an organization that is working on what you're seeing. Go help them.
Say that one more time, Beth. Give it to him one more time.
Oh my gosh. You do. You need to get out with these organizations. If you're not liking something, get out, work with them, go talk to them, see what you can do.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them out here working,
Tons.
and all of them would be more than happy to have you.
Yeah. We will end on that note because I appreciate you saying that, because people do get organizations, city, government, everybody gets a bad rep for what you're not doing, what you don't do. You should do this, don't do, it's and then you ask that person to help and they say, nope, I don't want to do it. It's like,
Yeah,
fine, there's tons of, we have nonprofits everywhere in
absolutely.
Springfield. Like,
And they,
find one, Google them,
yeah,
ask and see how can I help you? I see you're working in this area, or what areas are you struggling in? And here's my expertise, or here's my skill set.
right.
How can I assist to help you accomplish your mission? And I appreciate you sharing that.
Find what you have a heart for. Kids, trauma recovery, domestic violence, poverty, homelessness.
Yeah.
Find what you have a heart for. Search them out. There's a lot of them for each one.
Yeah.
We need the help.
I appreciate you. It's been an amazing interview. Thank you for sharing your heart and just sharing your journey and your life. And I'm glad that you are in a healed position in life.
Absolutely. Yes.
That way you can enjoy the season of life that you're in now. So thank you, Beth. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.